genuinely probably the longest that we've sat here after I've hit the button to start the intro that it didn't play. But good morning. Happy Saturday. This is Steelers Saturday SitDAHN. It is Dolphins week. This is Around the 412. I almost said I'm Tyler. I'm Smitty. That's Tyler of Around the 412.
Man,
Tyler, how are we doing this morning?
I don't know what's
Better
wrong
than
with
me.
you this morning. It's not even like you had a bad flavor of coffee this morning.
Roasted chestnut. It was all right.
Roasted chestnut, not bad. I mean, it's not minty. It's not peppermint. You got
it's very buttery.
You've got the three bad ones out of the way. The three that you were not looking forward to so far.
In the first 9
so
days.
You should have a nice stretch all the way till Christmas from here on out.
What's wrong with me this morning was the intro not playing right away. Like I went to switch tabs real quick. We're doing a giveaway, by the way, of Steelers tickets this morning as well. So like I wanted to make sure my tabs are all good and stuff like that. So I clicked the button to start the intro, switched tabs, and like 6 seconds had gone by and it hadn't started yet. I'm like, what in the world's going on? So that threw me off. I'll be honest. Yeah, I was off my game a little bit here to start. But anyways, Miami Dolphins week, Monday Night Football. So this game is not taking place tomorrow. We got to wait another 36-ish hours before that one. Boston already in here, Around the 412 hat, on flight, checked in, Christmas sweater packed. Let's have a weekend, fellas. Hashtag Pittsburgh parlay. Boston will be here. He'll actually be at my house tonight, hopefully, weather permitting. We'll be at my house. I'm hosting an ugly sweater party, which is why he mentioned about the Christmas sweater being packed. So excited for that. Excited to see Boston and his wife later on tonight. But happy that he's in here right now talking ball with us. I'll be honest, Tyler, I think we got to start off talking about something that is not related to this game. Related to this game in that it is on the injury report, but bigger picture thing. The TJ Watt situation is very odd. He is somebody that does the dry needling as opposed to just like the straight up like acupuncture stuff. Seems like something that he does, I mean, once a week at the very least, as part of his recovery process. And this time it went wrong and they hit his lung while in the process of doing so. I mean, that's crazy to think about how deep that would have to go. I mean, I know that people were saying it's more invasive, it's more painful, so there's a bit of a risk in doing so, but that's pretty crazy to me that happened. Rolled out this week already, and I'll be honest, I know, Pelissero and Rap Sheet, we're talking about like he's expected to come back this season. I think that there's a reason that they didn't say regular season. I don't want to necessarily say that this is it's not for sure going to happen. Just from people that I've talked to and stuff, it would not surprise me if we don't see TJ until the playoffs based off this. This is something he's rolled out this week. From people I've talked to, he's effectively rolled out next week. From a conditioning standpoint, this is one of the harder things to come back from. You think about a guy that I know that the production hasn't necessarily been there this year, but we're never questioning the effort. We know the work that this guy puts in. I don't know. Yeah. Well, a physical therapist here who does dry needling, that's something that is difficult to do. Like, this is a monumental F up. Yeah, I would imagine, if they announce transactions for the entire staff like they do players, I think that we might have seen one. We might have seen somebody put on waivers this past week from the training staff. So I don't know. But anyways, your thoughts on just the situation.
I mean, it's absolutely bonkers that this is what is potentially sabotaging the Steelers season. And I think that, not to make light of the situation, it's very serious. I hope TJ is okay, and I'm glad he's recovering. But someone needs to investigate this a little bit further. Then who is compromising the Steelers season? Who from a organization around Baltimore or Cincinnati or Cleveland has sent in a spy to be able to do this and compromise the Steelers season after they regained first place? Yeah, but I mean, I'm happy that TJ's okay. Just an absolutely wild thing to have happen. I mean, collapsed lung or partially collapsed lung. To be completely honest with you, and I don't think this is really shocking. No idea actually how serious a collapsed lung is, but just by the name of it, it sounds serious. So it makes perfect sense why you wouldn't have TJ back. Also, I love that JJ was the one to break the news about he's out of surgery, doing okay and everything. I was kind of thinking maybe it'd be funny to reply with a sources ? But
so I saw a couple people,
yeah. But I thought I won't let that get the better of me. Maybe that's not the post to do that type of thing on. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy TJ is doing okay, but absolutely wild that happened. And yeah, physical therapist who does dry needling here, that's something that's difficult to do. Like, I don't know how big those needles are. I don't know the difference between like acupuncture and dry needling, but I feel like you'd have to go pretty freaking deep to like partially collapse a lung by doing that. And
I think it's about like placement too.
Yeah,
I just saw some other
sure.
people talking, and Max is probably like, you guys are idiots. Well, we're trying to talk about this, obviously, because of the information that he has as opposed to what we have. But Joel said there as long as a chopstick.
And they go in. What is he, like a magician with swords trying to like enter the box? And,
he's playing Don't Hit the Organ
that's inside.
Yeah, they're playing Don't Hit the Organ with these things.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but yeah, so rolled out this week from people I've talked to. Don't expect him back the following week. So like that puts him at the Browns game and Ravens game to close out the regular season potentially. But like, is he going to have his fitness level up? A guy that like has been on the same regiment, I'm sure, for years and not able to do anything right now. Like, absent of when he missed 7 weeks in 22 with a torn pec, he's probably never been in a spot where like physically he couldn't at least like go through his normal workout. So like, I don't know. I just think that this is going to take some time, unfortunately. And it's incredibly frustrating for him because it's not like, you know, something he suffered in game or anything like that was his own doing. So like, yeah, you mentioned like the repercussions. I saw about the NFLPA looking into this already and stuff like that. So I'm curious what the fallout is going to be from this and how much time TJ does in fact miss. At least one game, but again, I think that you're looking at a multi-week absence at the very least.
You want to know something wild? This is a completely changing subject, but kind of related. So, do you remember the name DeAndre Moon, Rochester running back, when we were in high school?
Yeah.
So before his junior year, he was like jumped and stabbed a few times in his back, and he had a partially collapsed lung, and he was back at practice 5 days later. I'm not relating the two, but I'm saying I thought it was absolutely wild at the time that was the case, and now with this happening, that seems even wilder to me that he was back at practice like a week later.
Joel said, look on the bright side. He'll be well rested to sack Rivers in the wild card game. I mean, I don't see how that happens with the Colts getting to the 5 seed with their current situation, but that is the ideal situation to me for the Steelers, as if that happens. The other guys on the injury report did not practice. And again, take in consideration, everything's basically a day behind. Because like the Friday injury report is basically like Thursdays with them not playing till Monday. Like they still practiced this morning at Acrisure Stadium at like 11:30. So we'll see what that looks like. So like hard to say exactly right now. But the DNPs as of the last day that we knew were TJ, who's already been rolled out, Andrews Pete, who's going to be rolled out with a concussion, Derek Harmon with a knee, who I know said was optimistic. I see Logan just asked about him here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's not going to play. I know that he said he was optimistic, but you can't just not practice the entire week as a rookie, especially, and then end up playing in the game. I think the Lions game is probably much more realistic for return there. YA Black did not practice with shoulder. I do expect that he'll play along with Cam with a knee, but from what I was told, that could be more associated to rest than anything else. James Pierre is an interesting one with a calf. He hurt that in game, but was able to finish. But like, I think since then hasn't necessarily like through the week healed the way that you would hope. So they haven't had him doing much. I think he's legit questionable and potentially even on the wrong side of that right now. We'll see what today's practice brings, but that would obviously be a pretty massive loss for them to not have in the secondary, and could change the helmet math as well. I mean, I like the idea of Asante Samuel Jr. getting some more reps here. Brandon Eccles has been good. You feel good about Joey Porter Jr., but like what is there behind those guys? Like Jalen might have to play corner. And then you're talking about rearranging the safety room if that's the case. Limited participation, and this is not good, is Calvin Austin III with the calf as well. And I say that's not good because it was in practice that made him limited. Like he got hurt in practice. Otherwise would have been full. So that late in the week to suffer a calf injury, I'm also going to say I'm not feeling super optimistic about that. I think we're on the wrong side of questionable there. Feel good about Keanu Benton with a knee. I think Darnell is going to be able to go. He's done a lot of stuff throughout practice this week, despite being listed as a limited participant. Interestingly enough, Malik Harrison, who's also been listed as a limited participant because of trying to go through the concussion protocol as well, I think on the other side of that, I don't think that we're going to see him. He was knocked out cold in that game on Sunday for a little bit. And they haven't done much in practice. So like for him to be limited, it's not like they're doing much. Skoranek with a hand, I do think is going to be able to go. The question was, is he going to be able to play receiver? But it's his hand, not his fingers, which oddly enough, actually better for the chances of him going. And then full participation from Rodgers, Queen, DK, Kyle Duggar going to be able to return in this one. What an interesting thing that was. I guess he suffered a hand gash and it got infected last week. So he had been playing with a gash on his hand for a little bit. Last week, it got infected to the point where he wasn't able to play on Sunday, but he's good to go this time. And we knew about Aaron with the wrist. Patrick Queen's just going to play through this injury through the rest of the year, probably, be limited at times in practice and stuff, but he's kind of playing on like one leg basically right now. Mm-hmm. And then DK with the weird stomach thing, good to go as well. So don't know if you have any further thoughts.
Not really
on
question. I just think that the big ones that stick out to me are Calvin Austin, because despite not a ton of production from the receivers last week, he, for the majority of this season, has been your wide receiver too. I know that they have Adam Thielen and MVS now, so that changes the dynamic a little bit of the wide receiver room. But you'd still think that Calvin Austin would be one of the more productive receivers that you would have in that room. So if he can't go, what is the receiver room going to look like on Monday? And then obviously Kyle Duggar, I think him being back is a big boost to that safety room. I mean, all credit to like Chuck Clark and what they did last week. I thought they did enough to win, but I think the back end of that defense is different whenever you're able to have Duggar back there, especially with Ramsey. But like you mentioned, with James Pierre potentially not being able to go in this one, what are they going to do with the cornerback room? Does Ramsey shift back over to corner for this game? So maybe even with the addition of Duggar back there, the back end is still going to look different. But those are the key ones that, as far as the injury report, that would stick out to me. The rest of them, more or less like status quo for how I feel about them. Those are the ones that I think are the most impactful.
And we'll shift gears now and talk about this Dolphins offense, because I think that that's a big part of this. Is I don't necessarily I'm not trying to downplay their passing attack, but to a sub 40 degrees, you got one weapon that really strikes fear into you, and Jalen Waddle, who is very good. And obviously out of the backfield is where I want to go with this anyways, but Devon Achane can catch the ball too. But certainly I think the reason that the Dolphins have come to life a little bit in the last month or so, is there's been a philosophical shift in their thinking offensively, and they've leaned into a different identity and what they're good at, and realizing Devon Achane is their best, or along with Jalen Waddle, their best offensive players. So they've just been running the ball super well. Aaron Brewer looks like the best center in the league, which would not be the case in a lot of systems, but specifically for what the Dolphins do, he is very good. He's so mobile. He can get out. He can pull. He's like the smallest center in the league, but great athlete and really good for what they want to do. So I think that is going to be a point of emphasis. And with all these bodies missing on the defensive line right now, and hopefully we get further clarification today about them coming back, that's the path for this, is the Dolphins just run all over them. I always try to find the path to a loss first and foremost, and then have the conversation with myself about how I think it's actually going to go down. But Devon Achane could have a day. We've seen it happen against the Steelers time and time again, without knowing who's going to be out there exactly along the Steelers defensive line. No TJ Watt on the edge. It sets up for that. So we'll see. I think that's going to be the point of emphasis for the Dolphins offensively, which wouldn't have been the case in past years. I just think that they've done a good job, specifically over the last month. And it's because people are trying to save their jobs. But Achane has become the focal point of that offense, and I think for good reason.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's a burst of speed, especially to the outside if he can break one, which is why I think that not having a TJ in this one to set that edge, we're gonna need to see how they handle the edge in this one with Nick Herbig. If we think that Nick Herbig has done a solid job in run defense so far, better than expected in his career, but now I think this is a bigger test, because Achane, to me, is not a up the middle type of back. I mean, he can do that, but where he can really burn you is to that outside. So setting the edge is going to be super important in this one, and not having TJ is going to be. I feel like if I'm the Dolphins, that would be the side that I would naturally want to target if he's not there. So we'll see how they handle that. But even then, we always mention, and I brought it up on the Steelers show this week, that without Derek Harmon, which it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go in this one, there's literally like 100-yard difference in how many rushing yards they are allowed whenever he's not on the field. So I think that it's very clear to me how the Dolphins should approach to this game to beat the Steelers. And like you, if you're looking for a path to a loss, it's going to be the Steelers getting ran all over with Achane. And I mean, it's cold. You know how Tua is in the cold. He's played in like 5 games that would be considered like true cold games, like sub 40-degree cold games. He's lost every single one of them. And this one's going to be even colder than that. I think the high is around like 19, 20 degrees, and the wind chill is going to be closer to 10 degrees. So this is going to be the second coldest game that Tua has ever played in. I'm so happy that you get to be in that stadium to experience that as well. But I don't know that Tua is going to be as effective in this weather. And I know that's a silly thing to say, that like these are professional athletes, you should be able to adjust, but like history has shown that Tua just does not be able to perform in these types of games. And despite having a guy like Jayden Waddle, I just feel like unless they do a thing where they, and I think they have done this year more so in years past, and maybe that's because like Tyreek Hill has been out for the majority of the year. They're really relying on Yak instead of people getting down the field. But like the time to throw, getting the ball out quick, that's kind of changed in their offense too, instead of Tua holding onto the football. And I think that, I mean, maybe the concussions play into that too. And maybe McDaniels knows that like they want to protect him as much as they can and getting the ball out quick as well. So that could play a part in it too. But I feel like the strength of this offense, like you're saying, and they've kind of changed over the last few years, especially this year, is that run game with Achane. And as a fantasy owner, I'm in a tough spot. I'm going to be honest with you. It's first round of the playoffs. I'm in a tough spot right now.
I mean, I have him in a dynasty league as well. He's been obviously a massive part of where my team is in that league. So got a couple more comments here. I just want to, how they deploy Sawyer during rundowns will be very interesting. Yeah. Am I missing something with Jack Sawyer? Like, I like him, obviously, Ohio State guy. I appreciate the effort that he's shown on special teams this year. I haven't seen a single thing that he's shown as a pass rusher. And like people are talking about how obviously you feel good about Nick Herbig having to take on an expanded role, but that also means Jack Sawyer taking on an expanded role. And like in just rundowns, I feel fine about. What in the world has he shown as a pass rusher to show that like he could be part of that rotation?
He lucked into an interception, and I think that a quarterback blindly spun into him for a sack. That if my memory serves correctly. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he's shown anything as a pass rusher, if I'm being completely honest. I think that he's fine in rundowns, and this is exactly what we expected whenever he got drafted by the Steelers. And you and I talked about it on our post-draft show the following week. Like, this is a pick that felt like it was something that didn't necessarily need to be taken at that time, especially with what the board looked like. And we talked about how we don't think that this is going to be a guy that you plug and play as a pass rusher early on, especially like what he's shown this season. I think that is 100% true. He's fine in those rundowns, but I don't think that he shows really anything as a true pass rusher. I mean, if they want to deploy something differently, where on the obvious rundowns or the obvious pass downs, they just deploy Herbig or Sawyer in more ways than not. But I think that that's a discredit to what Herbig has done as a run defender, honestly. Like, I think that he's been better advertised as a run defender than what Sawyer has been inverse of that in the pass rush. So I think that you have to give credit to what Herbig has done in the run game before you want to use Sawyer in the pass game.
Yeah. Joel said I was very mad on the Sawyer pick. I'm not a stan of his like some on Twitter. I think that we had this conversation a couple weeks ago where there's just been a lot of guys from like a cultural perspective that they felt like were like, you got to be able to play though too. And I'm not saying Sawyer won't grow into that, but he very much felt like two things: one, a culture fit, and two, maybe an overemphasis, overcorrecting on what was their downfall last year, where like every pick that they made defensively was just about stopping the run. So also why they drafted Y.A. Black, but I think the return on investment there has been completely fine, actually good, considering he's a 5th-round rookie. Derek Harmon, obviously, when able to be on the field, but if he doesn't play this game, we're talking about 5 games now missed, which obviously not good, but he's been very good when he's been able to be out there, and you see the difference that he makes when he is. So, yeah, the Sawyer stuff's just been interesting to me. I think that, like, people like him more than they like they like Jack Sawyer more than they like the number 33 on the Steelers right now.
They like the personality more than the actual player. Yeah. I'd agree with that. Which is why, like, if you got behind that pick, I get it. Like, even if you're not an Ohio State guy, if you got behind the personality, I get it. But just from an X's and O's standpoint, I don't know that he's necessarily brought a lot this season.
Yeah, and not saying you can't grow into it. It just, to me, I haven't seen it yet, at least the way that I've seen people talk about it online. Brooklyn is here, said, good morning, going to be a cold one. It absolutely will. I've got some experience, obviously, in games that are this cold, though, so I feel like I'm going to be prepared. She also said, please record intros and Renegade if crowd isn't rioting and booing, please and thank you. Yeah, I definitely got you on the intros. We'll see about the Renegade TBD.
Also, while we're talking about Brooklyn, I feel like I have to answer her comment from the Steelers show this week. She asked me, and this kind of goes in hand with what you're doing today. You have an ugly sweater party at your house today. She asked on the show, what did my ugly sweater say? So I have it here, and I'm
wearing mine right now, by the way.
Oh, you are? So
you probably
mine,
right now.
You can see that the top said warning, and I'm sure many people saw that throughout the show, but it also has a white elephant on it, and it says warning, may re-gift. I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, so warning may re-gift is what that said with a giant white elephant and sunglasses.
Mine isn't necessarily ugly. I mean, the person is, but it's the Merry Christmas one from Pittsburgh Clothing Company.
Okay, nice.
He will not be joining us, so I'm having him here in spirit with us for the ugly sweater party. High of 79 today in Arizona, says Kobe. Oh, you poor thing. Currently 55. We got people wearing hoodies and sweatpants walking into the gym. Soft. I'm glad you recognize it, because like talking to some people that are on the West Coast, like this girl, I replied to her Instagram story because she was like, it's freezing this morning, and she like has the temperature on there and it said like 66. I'm like, you guys, man.
Well, it's like my sister-in-law and brother-in-law, they live in outside of Tampa, Florida. They were here for Thanksgiving, and it was like 68 degrees, 69 degrees in our house. And I mean, even outside, it was like around like 60 something for the highs. And they're like, it's so cold here. And it's like, come on.
All right, well, back to this. Achane definitely stirs the drink offensively for the Dolphins. They've been able to create a lot of explosives through the run because of him. He's such an explosive player. Like in a true foot race, I am curious to see where he would rank, because he's legit speed. Like some guys like Xavier Worthy, right? They like 4.21 or whatever at the combine, but like in pads, he ain't running that fast. Achane seemingly translates from the combine to how fast he is in game. And he's unbelievable to watch. It's been very enjoyable. And honestly, the reason for this resurgence that the Dolphins have had. Interesting injury report for them, though, too. We'll see about Aaron Brewer, who I mentioned. Very good center. Went from a full practice to a limited on Friday. Achane he's been limited in both practices that they've had this week. But, like, with that rib injury, McDaniel said if he had to, he could have gone back in last week. I think they're just being cautious with him in practice. And then Jack Jones popped up on the injury report as well with, I think it was knee. So we'll see about him as well. But they have a very interesting corner room. Like that secondary's definitely played well over the last month, but it's just like so thrown together. Like, they just went out and got like older vets, Rasul Douglas, Jack Jones, obviously the trade for Minka, who's playing very well for them. And they use him much more creatively, more like what we saw early in the Steelers' tenure. He's played a lot of nickel for them. They send him on blitzes quite a bit. So he's going to line up a lot of times with whoever's in the slot, whether that be like Pat flanked out, whether that be Adam Thielen. We'll see how Roman's used. Like, I guess we could switch gears unless you have anything to say more about the Dolphins offense. But Steelers offense perspective, this to me, with how much cover two the Dolphins play, like you can run the ball against them. They're one of the worst teams in terms of allowing rushing yards and the efficiency standpoint of it as well. And they'll just sit and cover 2. They don't care. Like even in game, they don't adjust to it. They stick to what they are with Anthony Weaver, which lends its hand to me if Darnell is going to be able to go. Like, and you can use Pat how you would like to, and not how they had to use him last week, more as a blocker and filling some of Darnell's shoes. Him and Adam Thielen should be the 2 guys in the passing game to me. I say should because we've seen it not play out that way. For Pat, at least, Adam Thielen just got here. But like to me, this says that that's more of a game for these 2 guys, at least through the air. Now, this team wants to run the ball first and foremost, but at least through the air, I circle those 2 guys before I think about DK, despite the game that he just had, just because of the way the Dolphins play.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting how the Dolphins are set up defensively, because I feel like they're getting more out of the back end of their defense than like what their roster probably says they should, if you're just looking at it on paper. Like I think that you mentioned their
Anthony Weaver's a very good coach.
Yeah, he's a very good coach. You mentioned their corners, Russell Douglas and Jack Jones. Like I feel like they've gotten a lot more out of those 2 than what I would have anticipated at the corner position, which makes the game plan for the Steelers interesting in this one. Like you said, obviously the Steelers are going to want to run the football, but I feel like the Steelers also need to attack them through the air still. And considering that the week that Aaron Rodgers had through the air, maybe boosted confidence there for the pass game. I actually agree with you. I don't know that DK is going to be able to replicate what he did in this past one, in this Monday night game. But I think that this is a spot where Pat Freiermuth could get open. I think this is a spot where you could see some more Adam Thielen. I even think that maybe more Jonnu. I know that we've complained about him a lot this season, but I think that this could be a defense that you could scheme him open some more and to be able to get some more yardage under him in his former team. But I also think that you're able to still find some success on the ground. Like I think that Kenneth Grant has done a fine job as the first-round pick this year, but their defensive line is okay, not great. And I think that with the tandem of Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Warren, you should still be able to find some success on the ground. I don't love their linebackers. I mean, Jordan Brooks is over from Seattle. Terrell Dodson, is he playing in this one? I don't even think he's I think he's injured.
I'm not sure. I do like Jordan Brooks. He's having a nice year. Like he's fit into what they do better than probably he has anywhere else. But yeah, he plays. He's there. He's the guy for them in the middle.
He's the guy. And then you got they run a traditional like 3-4, so you got Chop Robinson and Bradley Chubb out on the edge.
And Judon for some reason still playing more than he probably should. Like he gives you nothing. But
yeah, I think that it's an interesting matchup for the Steelers offense because I don't think that this defense is as, how do I put this, like black and white as what some of the other defenses that the Steelers have faced in recent weeks are. Like there was a clear path to attacking the other defenses. I feel like this one is potentially more balanced, and I think that their averages go to show that too. Like they're like 25th in stopping the run, but they're like 12th in stopping the pass, and it averages out to like an okay defense. And I think that's part of the reason that they've had success. Like we mentioned how Achane has transformed their offense. I feel like just the overall play from their defense is rather they've had the run that they have so far in the middle of this season.
Yeah, mentioned Weaver. I just think that he does get the most out of guys. Like I feel like he's kind of flying under the radar, but there was a reason that there was actually some like head coaching chatter prior, like when he was in Baltimore prior to coming over to Miami. So I think that might be in the cards eventually. I'm not saying this offseason by any means, but he does get the most out of his guys. There's some creativity on the back end too. Like they'll change the picture. So they'll play cover two, but there's like a lot of rotating that takes place on the back end and stuff like that. The edge players, they don't like Bradley Chubb has a good amount of pressures this year. DB brought this up to me though as well. You look at like, it doesn't match the eye test though. Like he's constantly getting one-on-ones and not winning. So I mean, there's not anybody like from a personnel standpoint, this defense doesn't really scare you, but they've been very good over the last month. Now context matters. You look at the opponents that they faced other than Buffalo within their last 5 games. Washington's in there, obviously without Jaden Daniels. The Saints are in there. The Jets are in there. So like Again, I think that matters for sure, but they're definitely playing better as well. You talked about running the ball, and like the last couple matchups have lined up for the Steelers to run the ball, and they just haven't been able to, even despite that. Obviously, I think it's because teams are putting so many resources in the box to shut that down and dare them to pass the ball. Now, last week the Steelers were able to. So does Miami maybe correct to that and say, okay, well, they do have some passing attack, or do they look at, the way that the weather's supposed to be? I mean, there's not like a bunch of precipitation or anything like that, but just like the cold weather element of it, and say, no, like we're still not going to be worried about their passing attack, despite what they just did to Baltimore. We're going to focus on shutting down the run.
See, I would do the opposite. I would not try to get beat over the top. You saw what the Steelers were able to do with DK Metcalf last week, and what was it, 4 plays of 20+ yards down the field, which is
one was to Calvin, so 3 to DK, 1 to Calvin. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think that if I were the Dolphins, I would still probably plan on playing a lot of 2 high safety and making sure that I'm not getting beat down the field. Because if I'm being completely honest with you, and I know that a lot of the success against the Steelers' run offense has been people stacking the box, but like right now, the run offense isn't what's scaring me from the Steelers. I don't think that they've had very efficient days in recent weeks. I think that they have been quite disappointing for the identity of how they want to operate as an offense. They just haven't done it at a high clip. And so if I was Miami, if I was Weaver, I would still plan on trying to keep a lid on things, play that 2 high safety look more often than not, and make sure I'm not getting beat deep like the Steelers were able to do a week ago. And then just hope that your defense can limit what Kenneth Gainwell and Jaylen Warren are able to do. And obviously they may adjust to that in game if that's what they end up doing, or they could just scrap everything I just said and put an extra guy in the box. But I feel like even though the Steelers wide receiver room is not great, I still think that teams will probably respect it more, at least based off of what they saw last week going into for this week than probably what they should.
Yeah. I agree. Brooklyn brings up a good point here. Did you discuss whether the revenge game component could be a factor here? Mentioned Minkah being on that side, but like Jalen Ramsey's on this side. Jonnu Smith is on this side. Just think about the amount of revenge Jonnu Smith could get. God. By the way, I found this funny. Logan said, which Smith would you rather have as your team's tight end, Jonnu or Zachary? Jonnu, but not by as much of a margin as you would think.
I was going to say, I think that you'd probably get pretty similar game by game production out of the 2 of them. So they both have to get schemed open. They're not going to win their one-on-one battles.
Throw me the ball behind the line of scrimmage, see what happens. I do think it's interesting. They didn't add much juice to it throughout the week, though. Like sometimes you'll see players like talk about it. Neither one really made it a big deal, though. Like they could have added fuel to the fire here and made this a storyline, but it didn't really happen. Like Minkah was asked about it. He just said it's just another game. It's funny because he kind of took the Tomlinism with him. Kind of talked to us about the Steelers like they were nameless gray faces, and it's a big game because we're in it. So yeah, neither player really added to that. So I think that's probably why it hasn't been as much of a storyline from that perspective. In terms of it being a factor, I mean, they're both very important for what their teams do defensively. In Jalen's role kind of up in the air as we sit here and talk right now because of what we may or may not have at corner in the form of James Pierre. So if he does play, it will be the same as it's been for Jalen since he made that transition. If James Pierre does not play, I'm curious what that means because I think you're going to need Jalen to at least be the backup at one of those spots. So I'm curious.
This is a question for you because you know, probably not a lot of people don't know. I've only been to like 6 Steeler games in person, and I never had a player that was like a prominent player on the Steelers come back to play against the Steelers. Do they do like you see in baseball and hockey? Do they do like a thank you video or like an honor video? Like, would they do that for Minkah or no? No.
That's why I saw people talking about it. Like he should get a standing ovation. I'm like, when? Like, when would you do that?
That's the thing. I just hadn't been to enough NFL games to know if that's even a thing in that sport.
I haven't seen one, and we played obviously a bunch of former Steelers in the time that I've been going to Steelers games. So I have not seen one. If they do one, I think that will be an insane testament to how they felt about him. If we do see anything, I just don't know when it would be though.
I mean, he might be a little different than. I'm trying to think of like former Steelers you would have seen that would have been on the level of Minkah Fitzpatrick, like former multi-all-pro safety. So like maybe that changes it a little bit, but yeah, I was curious. That was on my mind. Like, will they recognize him at all, or is he just another player now?
I'm trying to think. Like James Harrison. Brooklyn mentioned James Conner.
James Conner, yeah.
Which I was obviously at that game when Arizona came here.
Yeah, Joel says the thing in every other sport.
Was cheering for him, sure, but like in terms of like doing it on like the big board, showing highlights of his time here and acknowledging him, there's just not like a moment to do that. I guess.
Maybe that's just not a football thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of Renegade, they do that. give the fans something to cheer for.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some predictions here. You guys know the drill. Bold predictions, offensively, defensively, and then a final score prediction. We'll go back and forth. I will start on offense. Talked about it a little bit, how I think this game lines up more for a couple guys than it does some other guys. I know this isn't a massive number, but the guy only has 9 catches on the season. I'm going to say Adam Thielen, 3+ catches in this one. One of those will be a touchdown.
Very nice. Very nice. I mean, I think that will be more rewarding than the 1 catch for 4 yards that he got last week, despite playing like
it's funny that like
snaps.
The NFL put that up as like a highlight of the game too. It was like Adam Thielen's first catch as a Steeler. I'm like, all right,
that's great.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I dig it. I think that, like I said, I feel like the Dolphins may. If I were preparing their defense, I think that they may need to prepare for the pass more, because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is like he smells blood, and he had that passing performance that he did last week. I predicted 3 touchdowns last week. Obviously, that didn't happen, and I don't know how bold this is because it literally happened a week ago, but I'm saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to throw for 250 plus in this one. I think that based off of the game plan, the cold, maybe that is a little bit bolder than one might think, just because he did, 284 last week. So despite doing it a week ago, I still think it's a bold prediction. 250 plus from Aaron Rodgers.
284 and not much in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter. So I thought he was well on track to cross 300 last week, and it didn't happen. So I like it. I think that will bode very well for the team results, by the way. Before we get there, I'll just say that. Joel says if Austin is out, MVS goes for 87 and a touchdown. I like the number, 87. All right, you can go first defensively.
Defensively, I'm kind of going back to my well that I had last week as well, but slightly different. Miami likes to attack the middle of the field. I think that'll burn them one time. A linebacker, if you want me, I will get specific with it, but a linebacker is going to get a pick 6 in this one.
Oh, no, I think that's bold enough without.
Okay. I had a name ready if you wanted one, but
I mean, you could throw it in there as like a little bonus point.
Peyton Wilson.
But okay. I kind of figured that would be the direction.
Yeah.
I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt that it could be an outside linebacker. Doesn't just have to be off ball, and I would still give it to you.
Jack Sawyer.
I mean, Peyton Wilson's playing volleyball.
Hey, he's had an interception this year. He's like, he lucked into an interception, basically.
If Peyton Wilson's going to be playing volleyball, then maybe it will. So this guy has been super productive when he's earned the opportunity to start, when he's had to start with somebody out, when he's played a bunch. Nick Herbig strip sack on Tua. I mean, Tua's got the most turnover-worthy plays in the league this year. Sub 40-degree weather kind of all lines up for it, in my opinion. So I think it's anytime that you predict that type of splash play, it can be considered bold because it's not something that happens on a regular basis. But it almost doesn't even feel like super bold to me to predict that. So Nick Herbig strip sack on Tua.
Very nice. Nick Herbig is going to be the guy filling in for TJ Watt.
At least for a little bit, yeah.
I would like. I know this is like an easy to say, like we wouldn't be surprised, but like honestly, like, in those moments, I'm not surprised if like he has like 2+ sacks in this game.
Mm-hmm. And to be honest, what we need to talk about on the other side, like Alex Highsmith closed out last week's game with a sack. He's played very well in general when he's been out there, but like the amount of time that he's missed, I mean, super important for him to have a stretch staying healthy now. Like they can't afford somebody else to go down in the absence of TJ.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, you'd have who even would be the depth at that position anymore? Because you had Jack Sawyer to step in, but then behind them,
Marvin Leal.
The Marvin Leal, is that it? Like, because Malik Harrison's out right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, like I don't know if they have an edge on the practice squad other than Leal. Echo Leota's moved on. Yeah. I don't know. Give Cassius Marsh a call.
Julius Welshoff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that was last year he was hurt. Yeah. Yeah, that was last year he was hurt, not this year. Yeah, he's through the international.
Joel says for defense, Tua throws a Looney Tunes into JPJ for a touchdown. That's like the what game was it that I said he had the Mickey Mouse interception? Was that the Colts? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had like 5 turnovers that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the Colts.
I feel like Joe predicts a lot of JPJ.
Jack Sawyer, big play, come from Tua's blind side.
Okay. I mean, would love to see it.
So, Kobe, he says, I will say we have played like crap on prime time. Yes, except for at home on Monday Night Football. Tomlin and the Steelers have never lost
22 straight
at home on Monday Night Football.
22 straight Monday night wins. Yeah. There's actually a picture of me, Sarge, DB, and DB's family, and Pat after the game on Monday night last year against the Giants, where you can see it on the board behind us.
He said, I'll get a JPJ pick 6 eventually. He could feel it in his plums.
Yeah. All right. And then score-wise, I'll be honest, I've wavered on this a little bit more than I would have thought at the beginning of the year, like when this one was circled. Because I can see the path now for the Dolphins. At the beginning of the year, I would have thought, like, in Sharpie, this is a win, where I expect the two teams to be by this point in the year.
Through 6 weeks, you would have, in Sharpie, probably said this is a win.
Yeah, that's true.
They were 1-5, and now they're 5-1 in the last 6.
Mm-hmm. They're 6-7 now. This is the number, by the way. The Dolphins are 6-0 when they allow 21 or fewer points. They're 0-7 when they allow 22 or more. Just to give you the number that the Steelers need to get to, which I think they do on Monday night. So I did the Steelers winning this one. I've actually, just going back to how much like I've wavered and stuff, I've actually changed my prediction from yesterday on Afternoon Drive in terms of the score. I'm going to say 24. I'm going to say 24-16. The Steelers won this one. I think I was at like 23-13 or something like that.
Okay. Wow.
So
it was still a win, but just slightly different score change.
Yeah. Never mind. I forgot. Brooklyn just mentioned that I got to pick the Dolphins. So, of course, the Dolphins are winning this.
That's true.
30-0.
Yeah, Brooklyn already said that this is going to be a blowout Steelers win. Going to be too cold for Miami. Tua throws at least one interception. I hope so, but with my score prediction, I don't know that it would necessarily be deemed a blowout. Actually, in fact, it wouldn't be. But I do think the Steelers win this one. I just think it's going to be a game that the cold is going to have an effect on how efficient these teams are. I think that it's going to look pretty lethargic at times, especially once you get towards the red zone. I think there might be a lot of action between the 20s, but not when you get inside the 20s. So
it's hard to blow teams out in this weather.
It's going to be a game that I think that if you in the stadium, you'll be happy they won, but you'll probably be pretty frustrated by the score and how they got to the score. I'm predicting.
See, I don't really even like. Okay, I don't even go ahead. Go ahead. Give your score first.
Okay.
Then I'll
19-13 Steelers. I'm predicting 1 touchdown, and that's my defensive pick 6, and then every other score is a field goal.
Okay.
4
I don't even, especially with like the way that the conditions are going to be. I don't even like, as long as they win. I don't really like do the whole. I know that we have to, from the standpoint of like analyzing it and talking about sustainability going forward if they were to play like that again. But a lot of the times I'm like, just win, get out of it, and then we'll discuss afterwards. And especially in a game like this, that's all I really care about.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. We got a Dolphins pick. This is good. We can't be straight across the board. 23-17 Dolphins. Think they will do a short, quick strike offense, and the pass rush won't be able to get home with no TJ. I mean, I think that's what they're going to want to do for sure. I mean, honestly, what I think they're going to want to do is run the ball. I think in an ideal world, Tua throws the ball less than 15 times in this one for the Dolphins, which is very possible. I just think what ultimately ends up happening is the Steelers are able to at least relatively make that neutral in terms of the rushing attacks, and it's going to come down to what quarterback makes more plays, and I trust Aaron more in this type of weather than I do Tua.
Yeah, and that's why my offense prediction was 250 plus from Aaron, but I think that they're living inside the 20s. No touchdowns.
Yeah.
4 field goals. I just think the weather is going to have more of an effect than people want it to.
For non-Pro Bowl kicker Chris Boswell.
Yeah.
Not even the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers that that's the case. Also, I will say this about Logan's prediction. If by some chance, and I think this would benefit us both in one sense. Obviously, don't want this to happen at all. But in a vacuum, by itself, side note, if the Dolphins win, Achane better have 200 plus and a couple tuds on that. As a fantasy owner, that's what I need. If the Dolphins are going to win, but I hope they don't.
If the Steelers lose this game, it's going to feel like they almost like negated last week's win. I feel like that's how I'll feel. If they go out there and lose this game against the Dolphins, I'm going to feel like they won last week for no reason, especially if the Ravens beat the Bengals.
Well, that's not going to happen because Joe Burrow's going to have fun playing football this week.
I hope so. That was very interesting. No T. Higgins again. Honestly, T. Higgins probably shouldn't play again this year. In concussion protocol again.
Yeah.
What, like 3 concussions this year? I mean, what are we doing? And they put him back out there in a game where he went through the concussion protocol after landing on his head. Put him back out there and landed on his head again. You're playing with fire, man. I don't think he should play again this year. And that's not. I love T. Higgins. Genuinely, I love watching T. Higgins play. I love watching that Cincinnati offense play, just not against the Steelers. I do not want anything bad to happen to T. Higgins, and I'm worried about the way that this is trending if you put him back on the field this year.
Yeah.
So do not do it.
I mean, let's be honest. Looking at what the past history with the Bengals, they don't care about those skill positions. They don't care about Joe Burrow. They don't care about anybody getting injured, apparently. Also, what do you think of some Steeler fans I saw on Twitter this week wanting Joe Burrow in a Steelers uniform after his comments? Not that I think it would happen. I don't think it would happen. I'm just saying, if you could, instead of drafting a quarterback, if you could take Joe Burrow, would you?
Yes.
I feel like I knew the answer.
Sorry, the was too long of a pause, actually. I don't know what you would have to tell me that they're giving up for me to say no. But, like, if you land a franchise quarterback, the price doesn't matter. The only question mark has been health, right? So, like, I guess that you're a little bit worried about that, and maybe you baked that into the price that you'd be willing to give up. But just like, if you were just telling me you're getting Joe Burrow with the guarantee that he's staying healthy, my God, I mean, 3 firsts. I don't care.
Yeah, I was like,
you want
trying
TJ?
To find. Oh yeah, I'd trade TJ for Joe Burrow. Maybe that just triggered a lot of people, but I would.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. Not a great thing for us to say here as we're wrapping up, but some thoughts are better for just us.
Yeah.
How much you have to give up for the Cuban Missile Crisis in Indiana? That would be in regard to Mendoza, who I believe is going to be a New York Jet.
I mean, it probably, honestly, it'd probably be similar compensation just because you'd have to trade up that high in the draft.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think. So that's a good point. Would you rather trade exactly what you'd have to land Mendoza or just trade it for a proven commodity?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather do it for Bro.
Yeah. Last thing we'll say here, Boston closing us out. Boo Weeks. Boo Rodgers is king of the cold.
Hey, what did I say about? I said he's having 250 plus. I'm just saying he's not going to find the end zone.
Yeah.
And listen, he might not get in the end zone because his receivers have stone hands. Well, it's not necessarily his fault.
Yeah. Throws a beautiful ball back shoulder in the end zone right off of Calvin Austin's helmet.
He throws a dime directly down the seam to MVS, hits his hands, and then we wonder why we picked him off waivers.
Yeah, that's probably the better shot. MVS, the hands have been inconsistent throughout his career. It's been definitely the big knock. Anyways, all right, we got to get out of here. But first thing we got to do is we got to pick a winner for these tickets. So hopefully everybody that's in here entered this. I don't know why you wouldn't have. But I got the tab open now. Make sure that it's set for people that replied, retweeted. Okay, there we go. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen, huh? Oh boy. Now I am. Hopefully. Can you guys see that? Up because I'm on the.
The winner is Ben Meggett.
See it? Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay, you can see it. He replied to us something. Is it his? I'm gonna go and look at. I'm gonna find the tweet here.
It looks like it's at B_Meggett52.
Yeah, would make for a great way to spend my 21st birthday. So I don't know if his birthday's on Monday or what, but that's pretty sick.
That'd be pretty cool.
And yeah, we got to keep this. I can't I feel like an idiot though. I didn't realize I wasn't sharing the screen when I rolled it. But that'd be unfair to Ben if I re-rolled here. So congrats, Ben. We'll reach out. You're going to the Steeler game Monday night. Hopefully you can make it work. That was also part of this that I was kind of worried
about.
Profile
picture is him with Ryan Shazier, it looks like.
Oh. Let me see here. Yeah, it is. That is Shazier. That's from like this year, I think, then.
So Pittsburgh Steelers now intern? All right, insider trading. What are we doing?
Oh, this is that Ben.
He says, I know ball, average armchair GM, big Nick Herbig guy before it was cool.
This is his bio?
Yeah. But Pittsburgh Steelers now intern, writer for the goal line grind.
He doesn't do anything for me, so. But that is, yeah.
Hey, I mean, for those who are still watching, by the way, I'm posting the link because today is the last day that we are taking donations for Rocking Around the 412. It is cut off after today. So posted the link in the comments. Here, I'll post it a few times. That's the GoFundMe link. We had a couple people that kind of late in the process that we were trying to do as much as we can for. So if you guys are willing to donate, we thank everybody. One of you that would do that and has done that. But also, thank you to everybody again. We said it on both of our shows this week, but for those of you who mainly join us in the lives, thank you again to everybody that's donated to Rocking Around the 412 this year. It is our biggest year in terms of how many kids we've been able to impact, how many kids we've been able to provide Christmas for. We're at 75 kids, not 25, 75.
No. 252 in total in the years.
252 in total, 75 kids this year. So thank you to everybody that's donated. It's a mission that we love to be able to do to give back to our community. But yeah, today is the official last day of Rock Around the 412. And then we won't see you again for Rocking Around the 412 until July 1st of 2026, which I'm sure will be here sooner than later. But if you are willing to do so, we have a couple kids in mind still. Go donate, and we'll be able to help out those kids as much as possible this year.
Yep. Very excited about it. And just the way that it's gone, how many people have been involved with it. So it's awesome to see. And yeah, like you said, July 1st, we'll definitely be back here sooner than we realize. Man, as we get older, time goes faster.
Who will be the Steelers starting quarterback on July 1st, 2026?
I'm hoping that they did not watch Thursday night's game. And they're going to go back to the unction and bring in Kirk Cousins.
If that's the case, do you think they go away from quarterback in this year's draft?
The only reason they would go away from quarterback is if there's just not enough guys that come out. I think that's what's so unique about it is there's a lot of underclassmen that can go back. Joel mentioned this morning it came out that Lenore Sellers is going back to school. It's funny though, like the way that the wording is put out now, like he reached a deal to stay. Like,
yeah,
it's so interesting to me.
It's
I'm
true.
all for guys getting paid, like the players getting paid and stuff, but it is just super interesting the way that the landscape has changed. But so he's going back to school, so that's cross that one off. And there's a lot of guys that can. I know that they're like Moore can. Mendoza can't. Like he's not going to. He's going to come out. He's going to be the first overall pick probably. So he's going to come out. But Moore can go back. There's a lot of guys that I feel Simpson can go back.
I wonder if this is something that Steeler fans are saying in 2025, but also something that Art Rooney Sr. said with his cigars. I want the damn Cuban.
Mm-hmm. Also, when he's at owners' meetings and they go to a deli. But all right, good stuff. Good stuff. Appreciate you guys. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you have not already on your way out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to drop your bold predictions in the comments. We will definitely read through them, see how many of you are close or correct, and maybe in line with us. We'll see. I'm now 2 games under 500 with my predictions. Bold ones, I've been relative. I might be better with my bold predictions than I am like picking the game, which is very bad. So if you're listening somewhere, because we do put this up on all the audio platforms as well, be sure there's a 5-star review and subscribe. That's Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. We're all over the place. Hit us up everywhere at Around the 412 on all the socials. Like Tyler mentioned, still a little bit of time to donate to Rock Around the 412. You got till today to do so. So please do so. If you would like, share the mission, all that good stuff. And you can hit us up individually, Weiler_Teeks33. I'm everywhere. Zachary Smith, PGH. Thanks for tuning in to another Steelers Saturday Sit Down, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.